The simple memories of my grandmother have developed into precious treasures over the years. My grandmother helped define me in so many ways that I feel honored to reflect upon her, as she was some kind of woman. She was wise, generous, determined, and strong-willed. One precious memory from my summer visits was our weekly recycling route. I never suspected my grandmother to lack in the area of food or finances. The pantry was always full and there was never any worry over money. However, every week we would load up with our plastic bags and visit a couple small businesses to collect soda cans. I remember one particular visit to a beauty school shop where the lead beautician would save grandmother a small bag of cans for her weekly visit. The ladies there must have pitied this old lady. She was at least 75 years old, and she would come in regularly to pick up cans. One time, I remember grandmother actually pulled a dirty old soda can right out of the garbage. How embarrassing for a 10-year-old girl. But there was no shame in grandmother, so I went right along with her to finish our rounds. After a couple weeks, we collected a sufficient amount of cans, so we would go to the recycling truck to have them weighed and exchanged for money. I can't imagine earning more than $15 per visit, yet I do remember that the money collected would be distributed among grandmother's collection of piggy banks. Although grandmother lived in the inner city of Houston, she always had a garden to provide fresh greens, tomatoes, peppers, and cucumbers. She would also experiment with cantaloupe, strawberries, and various fruits and vegetables. As she got older, she even planted an orange and lemon tree. In the summer, I enjoyed helping her prepare, plant, and pluck the vegetables from the garden. This was a great example of saving money and eating healthy at the same time. Her garden wasn't the only way we would gather fresh produce. It was common for us to travel to the farmer's market and stock up on great deals for vegetables and fruit. Farmers from the area would come together and sell their produce at inexpensive prices. If she wanted meat or seafood, grandmother knew just where to go for great discounts and quality foods. Every couple months, we would make a trip down to Galveston to shop in at least 3 seafood stores for fish, crab, shrimp, etc. She would then buy in bulk, take them home, divide them up, and freeze them for later use. These were such wise ways to supply food. I love the idea that we were supporting small farming families and seeking out great bargains. I remember every week grandmother and I would load up with our sewing boxes and lunch bags and travel to the community college for our sewing class. But before we could even go to class, we had a lot of preparation to do. Usually, we would visit the fabric shop at least every 2 weeks and purchase patterns, fabric, threads, and notions. Then we would take all of our sewing supplies and fabric and organize them. On the day for sewing class, we would prepare a hearty lunch and a soda pop, always wrapped in aluminum foil to keep it cool. Speaking of foil, did I mention that grandmother would actually wash her foil and reuse it? Yes, she had foil that had been used for many months before she would discard it. What a wise and frugal habit. Anyway, the sewing class consisted of about 8 women, all over the age of 60, and a lead instructor, who served as a support to everyone. We used a room where there were upholstering projects in the back and then sewing resources in the front. The college provided high sewing tables, industrial sergers, hot irons, and several sewing machines. Each lady had their own workstation and they would be busy at their projects. It was exciting to come together with these matriarchs, to see their creative juices flowing and hear their life stories. Each summer, the ladies looked forward to seeing grandmother's granddaughter visiting from California. I often saw grandmother work for weeks assembling beautiful three-piece suits and even church dresses made of quality fabrics. I wasn't as patient, so I tended to choose simple projects that could be completed quickly. I was somewhat headstrong and rarely asked for help. As I reflect, it is evident that my grandmother taught me so many things in my younger years. She helped define who I am and how I relate to my family and others. I am eternally grateful for the time and love she invested in me. I know that if we open our hearts, we will find many precious treasures like the memories of my grandmother.